We won't take very long, and I'll ask just this real quick question. One of the other topics we were going to talk about tonight was kind of do a quick debrief on the Expo. If everybody's still up for that, we can have a few minutes, we can talk through that. What we can do is we can, what we'll do is we'll do this little out of order. We can go ahead and adjourn the meeting. We can just sit around and talk about the Expo debrief, so if you need to leave, you can step out and do that. But I'd love, and there's a bunch of us here that were at the Expo, would love to get your feedback. If you're at, how many of you actually got to come to the Expo this past weekend? Fantastic. I've got a survey form over there if you'd like to give us some feedback via a QR code survey. That would be super helpful. But if you got a few minutes in your mind, I'd love to let's invite Steve up, if you don't mind coming up for just a second. And we can talk about a little bit about the Expo, what you liked, what you would change, and what you keep, and maybe what you'd like to see next year. Take a few minutes and kind of walk through that. Is that okay with everybody? Fantastic. All right. Shameless plug. If you want to fill out a survey, it's sitting up here on the table. You can come down there.
All right. First of all, I do want to thank everybody that helped. I can mention names, but I'm sure I'll leave somebody out, and they'll feel it hurts on to say everybody, because everybody did help one way or another. That was one thing. Even Thursday night, I was thinking, man, everybody's saying they're going to help, but are they? Because I've done enough of these things like swamp stompers and stuff where, it sounds like, it's going to work, but I wasn't that nervous because I knew that we always pull together and it works out. I've got a few things that I was listed down here, but before I kind of make a skew what y'all are wanting to say, what is some good honesty, and what did we do right and what did we do better? Well, good, that was good, all right.
All right, not everybody at the same time. All right, somebody raise their hand. Who wants to give a piece of feedback? All right, go ahead, Tom.
I think the one thing we heard at the admissions table was some people had difficulty getting in and finding what door. And then after there was a second event that showed up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I think
Rodeo blew us out. I've heard that from a couple of people who will do that. I've got that. Yep, that's definitely. I heard it wasn't the show, but I didn't the show, but there was somebody there. He said he tried to find it and couldn't, and left. So we need to do better on that.
Right, next, somebody else raise a hand. Don't be bashful. This is a way for us to learn and hear the good, hear the needs improvement. Hey, let's make this better.
One thing I was saying was maybe work against the gun show too.
The what?
You work against the gun show.
The gun show?
Yeah, later.
Okay.
But
Like somebody doesn't show over here. Never rocks. Okay. Okay.
Just to grow, I installed the item class.
Yeah.
I think it was a good very first one.
So I have a piece of quick question feedback for everybody. I apologize, Steve. Just a second. If you could change the date, would you change the date, or was the date good? Second weekend in April.
the list falls on Easter.
Nope, the next 2 years is free of Easter.
Correct? Double check that. Anybody else? Date good, you think? Don't think you can move the date or shift the date? Just wanted to check that. I've seen lots of heads saying, yeah, I would change it, so I appreciate that. Because it's one of those things you never know unless you ask. The date was a good date. It didn't work on for a few years. It was good and stable, so I didn't think it was a bad date, but let's ask. All right, Steve, I apologize.
One thing, I knew that we could get catering with one and only, but I didn't know how easy and how good that was. I was afraid that they were going to have to be in our space. I was afraid, number one, we were going to have to like prepay or something. I'm leaning very much toward, we'll piggyback on that again, and we won't do any of the food. Brought in $300 on the food. You're talking a profit margin of, you got a profit margin of less than 50%. 50%, we made less than $100 on the food. For all the work, it wasn't worth the trouble. I did talk, speaking of the week, I talked to the group that had the other events, and they come here, they've been coming for years, and they were planning on coming back it's the second week. And I asked them, I said, do y'all mind if we kind of share the catering with y'all? And she said, no. I mean, it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost us anything. They just provide it. We might need to get a couple of tables or something there if we're gonna do that, but that, I think is gonna be a big help and a big change because, you know, we gain some more tables that way. Everybody knows hauling around those coolers and all that was a big mess.
Hey, Joe, one thing you're talking about not having the food, saving money, the drinks would be nice, though.
I agree.
At least water.
I think a small piece of the concession stand might be a good use.
You're gonna be in charge of hauling the cooler. I mean, they got drinks over at the block.
Where to go?
No, they didn't have drinks.
Yeah, they
Didn't?
didn't. They did not have drinks.
They did not have
I went
drinks?
there Sunday and we had drinks out on the counter. I mean, I didn't go over there, I was a little busy on Saturday, but Sunday they had drinks out on the counter. Okay, all right, we'll check on that. I mean, we can do that, but it's the drinks of the hassle. It's the drinks with the coolers and the ice that's the hassle. We can check on that.
Yes, Billy.
One of the best things we did was pay to have all the tables set up, chairs set up. It didn't cost us too much money, so continue doing it.
Yeah, at least for
sure.
a while. Yeah. I'm thinking maybe look at doing a little bit more hands-on in what I'm calling classroom C. I think some of the, having it where we'll talk about something like mess tactic or something, talk about it for a little bit, and then show, actually, I'll be honest, I didn't get into C very much, but if those were more just lectures, let's maybe lean a little bit more toward actually hands-on. Because every time, there's a couple of people here tonight, they were saying, I got my license and I've never even touched the radio. And I think we could help the general public a little bit more with that. We definitely can do a little bit better layout. If anybody's good at designing, an architect or some engineer or something, that was just a plan I came up with to put the tables there in the center section. We might can put some more tables in if we design it a little bit different. If somebody, that's in your wheelhouse, definitely get with me on that. Promote the Huntsville better. We kind of a last minute thing, but hey, let's do that. And we had 400 people there that we could have done better getting some more people on the bus. That's about the main things that I have.
Yes, David.
The PA system was,
I did have that. We got to work on, there was some issue with that. There was actually 2 wireless mics, and I'm wondering if the one we were using was getting interference and the other one mic would have been better. Yeah, I did have that.
Any other? Raise your hand. What did you think of the drawings of door prizes?
We might try to do something. That drug on a little bit too long. I mean, they got there to the end where I couldn't even really give stuff. We had a couple of certificates and all that. We need to look a little bit better at what we're giving out and when. We had certificates for tech class, and we had 50 or 60 people there that were general and above. They didn't really need the tech class certificate, so yeah, we'll do a little bit better on that. All right, here we go.
Is there anything that you would have liked to have seen at the Expo that you didn't see?
More radio vendors.
Or radio vendors?
And that, I think, has to do with the date, so I didn't speak up, but
Well, I think that, to fairness to our vendors, the date was released to them, and then we came back and said, oh, oops, we want the date back, and a few of them had already rescheduled the date. So one of the things that we trying to do now, that we've got 2 good solid dates for the next 2 years, to say, hey, our dates are back, please put them on your calendar, come visit the vendors for our expo. But point heard.
Hey, Joe,
Yes,
did we check with Mary Jane about the STEM, how that went? Did she have,
she had, at one point in time, I stuck my head in there and she had a full house.
it looked great from where I was looking, but I didn't get over there to
It
check
was
it
very
out.
successful.
I love that.
There a lot of the day.
I thought it was amazing. We need to grow that.
I heard a lot of people say it was a good thing to have the full family. So mom and kids could go to the STEM corner and dad could cruise around, or kids and dad could go to the STEM corner and mom could cruise around.
That's right.
We had 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 16-year-olds, all in there building stuff, having fun, playing, driving the little robot around. It was a big success, I think. It's something we, like they're saying, that we should build on going forward. And I mean, hopefully Mary Jean can do that, because she basically brought her whole classroom basically with her.
My 6-year-old grandson and 4-year-old granddaughter were there and had a blast. And thank you to Jonathan for providing some radio kits that they built. Thank you for that.
Yes, Steve. Jonathan spent a lot of his time in there. Thank you, Jonathan, for helping me as well.
It was fun.
That's it.
All right, any other observations? What other, Jonathan said more radio vendors. Any other things that you'd like to see or add? Input's appreciated. There was, it wasn't real published, it was the 82 and 625. Either one, they were linked during the day.
So what about, I know we had the go-to station, but what about a table kind of like what Huntsville has, where you buy something there, you can kind of take it back there, plug it in, and see it work for a minute, make sure it's good before you walk off.
We could do that at the, I was thinking about that too, Jonathan. We could do a little bit more of that at kind of
I
the.
can't remember what they call that table, but.
It's a testing station.
Yeah.
It has a couple of power supplies available.